Have you ever had this experience? You're lying in bed and you're having a perfect conversation in English inside your head. Your grammar is great, your vocabulary is amazing, you sound fluent. And then,
And then someone actually talks to you in English, and suddenly your brain just stops.
exactly, your mouth doesn't move, the words disappear, you forget everything.
You stand there thinking, wait, I knew this word 2 seconds ago. Where did it go?
And the worst part, after the conversation is over, you remember everything you wanted to say.
That's so frustrating. It's like your brain is playing a trick on you.
So, if this sounds like you, if you speak perfect English inside your head, but you struggle when you open your mouth, today's episode is for you.
Because today, we're going to explain exactly why this happens and, more importantly, how to fix it.
Right.
Welcome to the English Conversation Podcast. My name is Mike.
And I'm Sarah, and this is the show where we help you improve your English by just listening to real conversations. No textbooks, no boring grammar drills, just two people talking about stuff that actually matters for your speaking.
And today's episode is a big one. We're talking about why you speak better in your head than out loud, and more importantly, what you can do about it.
Right.
We've got explanations, examples, practice activities, the whole package.
So stick around for the full episode. Seriously, don't skip ahead. Everything builds on itself, and by the end, you're going to have some really practical strategies you can start using right away.
But first, before we get into all of that, we want to hear from you. Where are you listening from right now?
Yeah, tell us. Drop a comment. Maybe you're listening from Uzbekistan on a bus. Maybe you're on your lunch break in Sao Paulo. Maybe you're cooking dinner in Malaysia and you've got your earbuds in.
Maybe you're going for a walk somewhere in Turkey and you're just tuning in on your phone. Or maybe it's late at night in Japan and you're trying to fall asleep, which, honestly, I hope our voices are relaxing enough for that.
I hope we're not that boring, but seriously, we love reading your comments. It's amazing to see how many different countries our listeners come from. So write it down. Where are you and what are you doing right now?
And while you're at it, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out, and it means you won't miss the next episode.
Okay, let's get into it.
So, Sarah, let's break this down. Why does this happen? Why can someone sound amazing in their head, but then completely freeze up when they actually have to speak?
Right, so there are a few things going on here. The first one, and this is the big one, is that when you're thinking in English inside your head, there's no pressure.
Right.
Nobody's watching you, nobody's waiting for you to finish your sentence. You can take all the time in the world.
That's a good point. It's like the difference between singing in the shower and singing on stage. In the shower, you sound like a rock star because nobody's listening.
Exactly. And your brain knows that. When there's no real world pressure, your brain is relaxed, your thoughts flow naturally, and everything feels easy. But the second you're in a real conversation, your brain goes into kind of a panic mode.
Yeah, because now there's a real person standing in front of you waiting for a response. And your brain is suddenly doing like 5 things at once.
Yeah,
It's trying to find the right words, put them in the right order, pronounce everything correctly, and keep track of what the other person just said. That's a lot to juggle.
it really is. And here's the thing that most people don't realize. When you think in English in your head, you're actually skipping a lot of steps.
Oh, that makes sense.
You're not really forming full sentences most of the time. You're thinking in ideas, in feelings, in half sentences. Your brain fills in the gaps automatically.
Oh, that's so true. Like in your head, you might think something like tomorrow, meeting, need to prepare, and it feels like fluent English because you understood the meaning. But in a real conversation, you need to actually say, hey, I have a meeting tomorrow, so I need to prepare for it tonight. That's a completely different skill.
Completely different. And that's actually the second big reason this happens. There's a gap between passive knowledge and active production.
Right.
You might know a word when you hear it or read it, but pulling it out of your brain in real time when you need it, that's way harder.
It's like the difference between recognizing someone's face and remembering their name. You see them and you think, I know this person, but the name just won't come to you.
That's a perfect comparison. And then there's the third reason, which is something we don't talk about enough: the fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of learners put so much pressure on themselves to speak perfectly that they end up not speaking at all. They'd rather stay quiet than risk saying something wrong.
And that's such a shame because mistakes are literally how you learn. Every single fluent speaker you admire made thousands of mistakes to get where they are.
Thousands. And they still make mistakes, by the way. Native speakers mess up all the time. We trip over our words, we forget what we were going to say, we use the wrong word. It happens. It's part of being human.
So, to sum up, the gap between your head English and your mouth English comes down to three things: pressure, the gap between passive and active knowledge, and the fear of making mistakes.
And all three of those things are totally fixable, which is exactly what we're going to work on for the rest of this episode.
Okay, so let's make this more concrete. Let's look at what actually happens when this gap shows up in a real conversation. Sarah, do you know how to set up a scenario?
Sure. So imagine you're at a work event and someone comes up to you and says, "So, what do you do?" Simple question, right?
Super common question. And in your head, you probably have a great answer ready. Something like, I work in marketing for a tech company. I mostly handle social media campaigns and content creation. I've been there for about 2 years and I really enjoy it.
That sounds great. But here's what actually comes out when you're nervous and under pressure. I I work in marketing, like for a company. It's we do technology things. I do the social media. Yeah.
And then you walk away and think, why did I say technology things? I know the word. It's a tech company. And you beat yourself up about it for the rest of the night.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's not because you don't know the English. It's because your brain is overloaded. You're nervous, you're thinking about pronunciation, you're worried about what the other person thinks of you, and all of that uses up mental energy that should be going towards actually speaking.
Let's do another one. Imagine you're trying to tell a friend about a movie you watched. In your head, you want to say something like, I watched this really gripping thriller last night. The plot was full of twists and I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Beautiful. But in reality, it comes out as, I watched a movie. It was, how do you say, it was very exciting. Like a lot of things happened. It was good.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Your friend still understands you, but you're frustrated because you know you can do better.
Right. And this is where the strategies we're going to share really come in handy, because the goal isn't to memorize perfect sentences. The goal is to train your brain to access the English you already know faster and more naturally.
Okay, strategy time. And I want to kick things off with something that might sound a little strange, but is incredibly effective. It's called speaking to yourself out loud.
Oh, this is a game changer. I swear by this one.
So here's the idea. At least once a day, you talk to yourself in English out loud.
Right.
Not in your head, out loud. You narrate what you're doing, describe your surroundings, talk about your plans for the day, whatever.
So, for example, you're making breakfast and you just say out loud, "Okay, I'm going to make some eggs. Let me grab a pan. I think I'll have toast too. Where's the butter? Oh, it's in the fridge." Just normal stuff.
And the point of this is to get your mouth used to producing English. Because remember what we said earlier, thinking in English and speaking in English use different muscles, literally. Your tongue, your lips, your jaw, they all need practice.
And the beauty of this strategy is that there's zero pressure. You're alone, nobody's judging you, you can mess up as much as you want. It's like a rehearsal before the real show.
Exactly. Strategy number 2. And this one pairs well with the first one, is what I call preloading.
Oh, okay.
Basically, before you go into a situation where you know you'll need to speak English, you spend a few minutes preparing.
So if you have a meeting at work, you think about what topics might come up and practice saying a few key sentences out loud. If you're going to a party, you think about common small talk questions and rehearse your answers.
It's not about memorizing a script, it's about warming up. Athletes don't just walk onto the field cold. They stretch, they warm up, they get their body ready. Speaking is the same. Give your brain a heads up about what's coming.
I love that. And strategy number 4, this one is huge, is to stop translating in your head.
Huge one.
A lot of learners think in their first language and then try to translate into English as they're speaking, and that creates a massive bottleneck.
Yeah, it's like having a traffic jam in your brain. Everything slows down because you're adding an extra step. Instead of thinking in your language and then converting it to English, you want to go straight from the idea to English.
And the way you build that skill is through exposure and practice. The more you listen to English, the more you read in English, the more you speak in English, the more your brain starts to skip that translation step naturally.
Doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And one day you'll catch yourself thinking in English without even trying, and it's the best feeling.
All right, and strategy number 5 is to learn phrases, not just individual words.
Yes, chunking.
When you learn a new word by itself, it's hard to use it in conversation because you have to figure out where it goes and what words go around it. But when you learn a whole phrase, a chunk of language, you can just drop it right into a sentence.
For example, instead of just learning the word forward, learn the whole phrase, I'm looking forward to it. Instead of just deal, learn it's not a big deal. Instead of just mind, learn I don't mind or do you mind if I.
When you have these ready-made chunks stored in your brain, they come out much faster because you don't have to build the sentence from scratch every time.
It's like the difference between cooking a meal from individual ingredients and using a meal kit where half the work is done for you.
Okay, so now let's put some of this into practice. Mike and I are going to do a few short conversation simulations. These are realistic scenarios that you might find yourself in. Listen to how we handle them and pay attention to the phrases we use.
And if you want to, you can pause after each one and try it yourself. Pretend you're one of the speakers and respond out loud. Remember, out loud, not in your head.
All right, simulation number 1. The scenario is you're at a coffee shop and you run into someone you haven't seen in a while.
Hey, oh my gosh, Sarah, is that you? I haven't seen you in ages.
Wow, Mike, what a surprise. It's been so long. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks. Keeping busy with work, you know how it is. What about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, same old, same old. I actually started a new job a couple of months ago, so I've been settling into that. It's been a lot, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Oh, nice. Good for you. What kind of work is it?
It's in project management. It's pretty challenging, but I'm learning a lot. Anyway, we should catch up properly sometime. Do you want to grab coffee this week?
Yeah, I'd love that. Let me know when you're free and we'll figure something out.
Sounds like a plan. It was really good running into you.
You too. Take care.
Okay, great. So that was a pretty natural, everyday conversation. Notice how we used phrases like, I haven't seen you in ages, what have you been up to, getting the hang of it, and sounds like a plan. These are all really common expressions that native speakers use all the time.
And none of those phrases are complicated. You don't need fancy vocabulary to have a great conversation. You just need the right phrases at the right time.
All right, simulation number 2. The scenario is you're at work and you need to disagree with a colleague politely.
So I think we should launch the new product next month. The sooner we get it out there, the better.
I see where you're coming from, but I'm not sure next month is realistic. We still have quite a few things to sort out before we're ready.
Like what? I think we're pretty much there.
Well, for one thing, we haven't finished testing yet, and I'd hate for us to rush it and then have issues down the line. I think it might be worth taking an extra month to make sure everything's solid.
You might have a point. I just don't want us to fall behind the competition.
I totally get that. What if we set a firm deadline for 2 months from now? That way we have a clear target, but we're not cutting corners.
Yeah, I think I can work with that. Let's bring it up in the next team meeting and see what everyone else thinks.
Sounds good.
All right, so what did you notice there? Sarah disagreed with me, but she did it in a really diplomatic way. She didn't say, you're wrong, or that's a bad idea.
Right.
She said things like, I see where you're coming from. I'm not sure that's realistic. And you might have a point.
Right. And those softening phrases are incredibly useful in real life, at work, with friends, anywhere. They let you express your opinion without making the other person feel attacked.
Now, it's your turn. We're going to give you some guided speaking practice. I know you can't talk back to us through the screen, but you can talk out loud wherever you are. And remember, that's the whole point, getting your mouth English to match your head English.
All right, here's how this works. We'll give you a question, and then we'll pause for about 10 seconds. During those 10 seconds, answer the question out loud. Don't think about it too hard, just say whatever comes to mind.
Ready? Here's question number 1. What did you do last weekend? Go ahead, say it out loud right now. Great. However that went, that's fine. The point is that you spoke,
Even if it was messy, even if you stumbled, you're building that connection between your brain and your mouth.
Okay, question 2. Tell us about your favorite meal. What is it and why do you like it? Go ahead. Awesome. Let's try one more. This one's a little more challenging. Question 3. If you could live in any country in the world, where would you live and why? Take a moment and answer out loud. Nice work. Now, here's what I want you to do. Think about your answer to that last question. Was there a moment where you got stuck? Where you wanted to say something but couldn't find the word?
Yeah.
That's totally normal, and that's actually a really useful moment because now you know exactly what you need to practice.
Right. Make a note of those moments, look up the words you are missing, and then try answering the question again tomorrow. You'll be surprised how much smoother it goes the second time around.
And here's a bonus challenge for you. Try this every single day this week. Pick one question, any question, and answer it out loud in English. It doesn't matter what the question is. It could be, what am I going to have for lunch? Or what do I think about the weather today? Just get those words out of your head and into the world.
And if you're feeling brave, record yourself on your phone and listen back. I know, nobody likes hearing their own voice. But it's one of the most effective things you can do because you can actually hear where you're getting stuck and work on it. All right, so we've covered a lot today. Let me try to pull it all together. The reason you speak better in your head than out loud comes down to pressure, the gap between what you know passively and what you can produce actively, and the fear of making mistakes.
And the way to close that gap is through consistent practice. Speaking out loud to yourself, preloading before conversations, shadowing, thinking directly in English instead of translating, and learning ready-made phrases instead of isolated words.
And I think the biggest takeaway from today is this. Your head English is proof that you already know a lot.
Exactly.
The knowledge is there. You just need to build a stronger bridge between your brain and your mouth. And the only way to build that bridge is by speaking again and again and again.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Nobody, and I mean nobody, became fluent without messing up constantly. Mistakes are not failures, they're stepping stones.
I love that, stepping stones. And listen, if you took the time to answer those practice questions out loud earlier, you've already taken a huge step. That's more speaking practice than a lot of learners get in an entire week.
So keep it up, be patient with yourself, and keep coming back to this podcast because we're going to keep giving you practice opportunities just like this one.
Okay, before we go, let's quickly go over a few expressions we used today because we threw around a lot of good phrases during the episode and I want to make sure they stick.
Yeah, let's do that. So, one phrase that came up early on was, my mind goes blank. I love this one. It basically means you suddenly can't think of anything, like your brain just empties.
Right, like when someone asks you a question and you know the answer, but in that moment, nothing. It's just gone. Your mind goes blank.
And then we used a lot to juggle. When you say there's a lot to juggle, it means you're trying to handle many different things at the same time, like a juggler in a circus throwing balls in the air.
Yeah, so when we were talking about how your brain has to find words, think about grammar, pronounce things correctly, all at the same time, that's a lot to juggle.
Another one that came up was getting the hang of it. This means you're starting to understand how to do something after practicing for a while. Like when I said I started a new job and I'm getting the hang of it, it means I'm learning how things work and it's getting easier.
That's one of my favorites. You can use it for almost anything. A new sport, a new skill, a new app on your phone. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it.
Then we had sort out. We said there were things to sort out before launching a product. Sort out means to organize, deal with, or resolve something. Like, I need to sort out my schedule, or let's sort out this problem.
Oh yeah, and there was cutting corners. When you cut corners, you do something in the fastest or cheapest way, but the quality goes down. So Sarah suggested we shouldn't cut corners with the product launch, meaning we shouldn't rush and do a bad job just to save time.
Exactly. And the last one I want to mention is down the line. We said we didn't want to have issues down the line. This just means in the future, later on. Like, this might cause problems down the line, means it could cause trouble later.
All of these are phrases that native speakers use every day in casual conversations.
And the more you hear them and practice using them, the more naturally they'll come out when you're speaking.
So try to use at least one of these this week. Put it in a sentence, say it out loud, use it in a conversation. That's how you make it yours.
All right, that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening all the way through. We really appreciate it.
And don't forget to leave us a comment telling us where you're listening from and what you're doing right now. We read every single one, and it honestly makes our day.
If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend who's learning English, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
This was the English Conversation Podcast.
I'm Mike.
I'm Sarah.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.